Okay. Okay, it says we are live. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live with Leo at 5. Happy Tuesday. This is a super special day. I have a very amazing and special guest, but also today is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, on a Tuesday, and we're doing it at 5 o'clock, which is all matches up. So I have today, our special guest is Farrah Khan, and as you guys know, she's a city member here in the city of Irvine. And I'm just going to give her an introduction here. Farrah is a small business owner and the executive director of Newport Mesa Irvine Interfaith Council, and she has been for 5 years. And she is a graduate UC Davis and previously served 8 years as a regulatory affairs manager for a major biotech company. She has also been a president of PTA and so has extensive knowledge of the public school system here in Irvine. As you all know, Irvine school system is one of the best in the country. Farrah has also worked extensively with many community organizations throughout Irvine and Orange County. She has also served on the steering committee for the Irvine Global Village Festival and is a CERT, which is stands for Community Emergency Response Team volunteer with the Irvine Police Department and an active member in the Irvine Rotary Club. Farrah was appointed as Community Services Commissioner in 2014, where she took the time to get to know the city, the parks, the open space, the land development, amenities, and all of its employees. She has received numerous awards and recognition throughout the years. She was also awarded the Community Service Leader Award from the OC Human Relations Commissions in 2015. Farrah has been a resident of Irvine for almost 15 years and lives in Green Tree with her husband, 2 sons, and 2 foster sons, ages 12 and 13. She was elected to City Council in 2018, the Irvine City Council. I'm honored and proud to have her here on my Facebook Live. So welcome, Farrah. How are you?
Hi, Leo. Thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome. It's such an honor to have you. I know how busy you are normally, but then a lot more busier with all this COVID stuff because the government services are extremely essential during this time, and I'm just so blown away by the amount of communication, the amount of visibility, and things that you've been doing for the community so they all know what's going on. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the main goal nowadays is to get as much information out to the public as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we have a few things that I like to get through. Tell us what's happening right now in Irvine. I know that you guys in the City Council are always working. What are some of the agenda and things that are on the table? What are you focused on right now?
Sure. So one of the main focuses for us is, continually looking at where we are right now as the COVID-19 crisis is going, making sure that we are taking care of our employees and our residents and our businesses, and working towards, what does it look like for our city as we consider reopening certain aspects of our city, and making sure that we're making the right decisions at the right time. Besides that, it's business as usual. We're still approving projects. We're still planning for the future, making sure that our development continues. And every meeting it's a new thing that we're facing, and it's interesting. It's we already had a lot of work to deal with as far as development in our city and in the programs that were being offered. And now with COVID-19, it's almost like we're going to have to do this balancing act of doing both at the same time and still not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, I know with the development, there's always been a ton of work, but then with, construction being halted because of the, we don't want to get people infected and the ordinances and stuff like that. So it sure puts, we all have to think twice everything we do now, right? Like, oh, we normally do this, but now what do we do about it? You have to, think about how to actually approach it. So what has been the hardest thing lately? What's been the hardest hit for Irvine in general?
I think the hardest has been really, I don't know, I think our city's kind of unique. I would say the hardest thing has been probably trying to figure out on a daily basis new regulations, new guidelines. So we're getting stuff from the federal government, from the state government, and then our county. And so we have to take all of that in and see how it pertains to us in the city and what are we going to move forward with. And so a lot of it is just, constant briefings, constant reviewing press conferences. You never know, you plan your day out and then you find out, oh, at 2 o'clock there's a press conference. You're like, okay, what's new now? And coming back to city council and making sure that we're either implementing what needs to be put in or then figuring out how do we balance it for our city. So, I mean, right now, the governor is opening up certain aspects of the community. And on Tuesday night, we're going to be figuring out what that looks like for us in Irvine.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think, not just the city council, but the rest of the public as well. They're trying to figure out, like, on a daily basis, like, well, can I still do this? Can I still do that? When will I go back to work? When will things go back to normal? I know that this week there's starting to be talk about opening up some of the less risky type of business be able to come on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So really, we were given by the state certain guidelines, and it's a 4-stage program of us getting back to whatever our new normal is like. And the first stage is basically 6 components. That includes testing. It includes having enough PPE for our frontline workers, making sure that we have contact tracing, that we have sufficient room in our hospitals. And so at the county level, I don't know what, the state seems to be at a different level than us in the county. At the county level, we're hearing that we haven't really tested to capacity yet. We're hoping to get to 4,000 tests a day. And right now we're averaging about 2,000. But every day the county is working with private labs to bring them on board and provide more testing throughout all the cities in Orange County. I know in Irvine, we're awaiting the county to approve a lab that we have looked into in Irvine to be able to provide drive-up testing for our residents. And so once that approval comes in, we'll open that up for our residents as well. Besides that, we want to make sure that as we're opening things up, we have contact tracing, that if we do find someone that has been infected, we're able to go back and see where they were, who they communicated with, to reach out to those places and those people to see whether they're infected or not, to help reduce the spread of the coronavirus. And so that's not up and running yet in Orange County. And so, we're lacking in 2 to 3 places where going into stage 2, we want to take the careful steps. We want to make sure that we're assured by the county that these steps will be fulfilled in a timely manner so that we can also relax some of these stringent rules that we have and open up some of our retail. They're saying we can open up bookstores, clothing stores, but provide curbside pickup. And so myself and the mayor will be meeting with a lot of our business community members and our developers on Thursday to discuss some of these issues, like what do they feel they're capable of opening up and handling, and to make sure that we are on the same page as we move forward in the city.
Okay, great. You've touched on some of the things that I personally am very interested in as well. I always said from the very beginning to friends of mine in conversation that the testing is like so critical for us. And so you said we are at 2,000 here in Irvine, correct?
No, that's in Orange County.
Orange County, okay. And so, but you would ideally like to see a ramp up to 4,000. And so is the holdup the manufacturing process of the tests, or is it something else?
So what we're hearing from the county is that they did not have sufficient testing kits available. But as those are coming in, they're hoping to ramp up. And as far as testing goes, we also need more providers to be able to provide the testing. And that's why they're reaching out to private labs now to be able to get that testing done. So it's a combination of 2 and 3 different things, which I'm really hoping that they'll sort out as fast as possible. Because the more we test and the more data that we have, it just makes it that much easier for us to look at reopening certain things, because it gives us that confidence that we need. Whereas right now, if you're testing about 39,000 people in a county of 3.1 million, that's not really giving us the numbers that we're hoping to see.
Right. Totally. So I know that we'll feel a lot more confident once we all, more and more people get tested, so that we know who is safe and who's not, and all kind of stuff, so we can still, do what's necessary to continue our work and continue our normal lives. So I think, testing is super, super critical. You mentioned about the contact tracing. Is that a more digital process, or is that more of a manual process? Because I know there are people in other parts of the country that can do manual contact tracing, calling people up, asking where they've been, are they people, members of their family been infected, and that kind of thing, and fan out from there. But it's a very laborious process. Can you kind of touch a little bit about what you foresee as the contact tracing processes?
Sure. So from the county, from the Orange County health officer, what she was proposing is hiring 25 full-time employees that would be working on contact tracing. And I believe their job would be contacting those that were tested positive and finding out who they've been in contact with and where they had been, and follow up in that branching out sort of way. I don't think we have the technology to do it any other way right now.
Okay, perfect. I think people are a bit nervous about the technology tracing anyways, so I think this is a safe way, and it also brings in the personal touch, because you're really, communicating with people and seeing, what the infection spread might be, so great. I know that personally, I felt very, very helpful by you posting all the numbers every single day of, the progress of infection rates, death rates, and things like that. I do know, just from all the information that I can see, Orange County is one of the least infected with the least amount of death of most of the other county, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's just testament to the work that you guys are doing, as well as other city officials, around the county. And so is our curve basically pretty much flattening out? We're not really seeing a spike in any way. What is your visibility on that?
So what I think right now, we're in the middle of flattening the curve. And the day we start testing 4,000 people a day, and we have other cities that have ramped up their testing, you'll see a spike in the numbers. Because again, right now, a lot of people that have symptoms but are not serious are being told to just quarantine at home, and no, they're not, going any further than that. And so once we do start testing people with symptoms, or people that are asymptomatic that aren't showing symptoms, that's also possible, that you have people carrying the virus but they don't have any of the symptoms. And so when we start testing people in general, you'll see those numbers spike up. But at the same time, once we hit that spike up, we'll be able to contain it better, because we'll know exactly where they are and what we are dealing with. So for me, I don't think we've flattened the curve yet. I think we're doing a great job of flattening it, but we just need to get to that point in testing where we have the data that we need. That gives us the numbers. Again, in a city like ours, we have over 280,000 people, and we still don't know exactly how many have been tested in Irvine. We have the numbers that have come up positive, but we don't have the number that have been tested. So once we have our own lab, hopefully we'll be able to get those numbers as well and really be able to forecast where we're headed.
Okay, sounds like it's going to be a continual effort, throughout as we continue to go, and it's kind of going to be normal until everybody is tested and that we're not seeing any more spikes and that we can really push down the numbers. So it's just going to be more of a continued effort, but it sounds like it is working because we're not getting these big, jump, up or anything like that. But that's going to depend, as you said, on the testing so that we can know who's infected and who's not. Because if you don't test them, those numbers are not going to move, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's really our main goal of this, is to make sure that we have the least amount of deaths as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I see some people jump on here, and I just want to remind everybody, if you all have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat box here, and we will try to see if we can either have time to answer them during our conversation here, or we can answer them toward the end. And this this video is recorded, so if you have more questions and you're watching this on a replay, please go ahead and put your questions there, and we'll see if we can get them answered from Farrah or Farrah's team. So I want to close out this COVID-19 talk a little bit about what's been going on, especially this last weekend. People were out protesting. I didn't hear any protesting in Irvine, but in other cities, especially the beach cities that we have in Orange County. Can you, kind of just address that a little bit, your thoughts and, in general, and kind of how people should be thinking about this?
Sure. I think what happened with the beach city protests were when the governor came down and said that, he was going to close out all Orange County beaches. I think a lot of people took that very personally. And the protesters, if you read their signs and hear some of their comments, it's all about being with not being able to go back to work, being able to maybe go get a haircut and things like that. But, we have to keep looking at the bigger picture. And I know there's been graphs on the internet that have shown exactly what happens when you don't flatten the curve and prolong this period. Is basically you get 3-4 times the people that are going to be dying, but then you do shorten the curve. So the time period is much shorter, but then you lose a lot of lives. And I think for us, the most important thing is to save those lives as much as we can. So we have to kind of give and take for our community members. And sometimes that's hard. And I just hope that people realize that in the long run, we are really just trying to protect people and do what's right. Yes, there's a lot of small businesses hurting. We totally get that. And I'm working a lot with our chamber and other community members to see what else we can do to provide relief for not only our business folks, but also our people that are renting right now and people that have mortgages to pay. I mean, everyone at any level is somewhat hurting in one way or another. And we totally get that. And that's why we keep demanding from the state and federal governments more relief packages to help them out. But again, we don't want this to be a permanent status. We eventually are going to be coming out of this, and that's our goal. But the reason it's taking much longer is because we are trying to prevent the deaths from increasing from where we have been. And so I hope people realize that as we move forward.
Yeah, I hope so too. I couldn't agree more with you, on that. My heart goes out to the people who, are working in the service industry, and those were the people that are getting hit with not being able to work. And those people tend to be renters, unfortunately. And so those people are getting hit really hard, and they are being told that they need to, pay their rent, and the landlord need that money to pay their mortgages as well. So it's a little bit of domino effects, but it really kind of starts out from the service industry people. So my heart goes out to them. I hope that they can get as much relief as possible, from the government, and apply for them. And if you need to apply for unemployment, that's also there available, and just do the best you can to try to, continue your lives and be able to pay that rent, until we can, get back to normal.
Absolutely. And if you go to our city's website, it's cityofirvine.org COVID-19 resources. We do have a very long list of resources available for folks to get relief and to get help as well.
Great. I'll put that link down in the comments later on in the post, so that people have it ready there. So I know you want to talk a bit more about volunteer opportunities. There's always opportunities to volunteer in our city and our county, but especially right now. And I know that you've got some that you feel are really important that people should know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the ones that have basically popped up after this whole COVID-19 pandemic started was our neighbors that were helping each other. And so one of the groups that formed is called Neighbors Helping Neighbors. And what they're doing right now is they are doing food drives on a monthly basis to help families forward, fill up their pantry. And so I think this is just amazing when you see just random neighbors coming together, and they are right now, I believe they are doing it out of the Great Park parking lot, and it's very convenient. It's drive up. You basically pop your trunk. They take the bags out of your trunk, so there's no contact, and you drive away. And they've been doing this. This is their second time doing it, and each time our community has stepped up and provided. Where I believe the last time it was 45 bins that were full and provided to families forward. So I just want to thank our community members for stepping up, not only in their leadership roles that they've created, but also in giving. It's just been wonderful to see all the efforts coming out. That, and then there's another project, it's called the Smiles Project Irvine. And that came out of one of our community members realizing that a lot of our seniors were homebound now. So, you know, because they are a vulnerable population, they're not able to get out and they're not able to meet with people. And so to create cards to send to the seniors. And so the process was created where people would design and create cards, and then our EOC center would basically hold them in quarantine for a while to make sure that there wasn't anything on the cards. And then they were distributed to our seniors. But that became so popular that now they've created cards for healthcare workers, and currently they're creating cards for our teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week. So those are two of the community resident run programs that I wanted to share, because I think it's just wonderful that people in their time at home are coming up ways to help others.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And we just want to give them, you know, some shout outs so that people know about them so that they can join in. And especially this time with everything going on with, you know, there's so many artists who are not able to normally make their living at doing that, and they can have an outlet and they can have something like that where they can do cards, and anybody can do cards. The kids can do cards. They're not, you know, spending time in school. They are being homeschooled, and they have time to have a little, you know, project on the side and know that they're helping the, you know, the more senior citizens of our community. You know, that I think that would make everybody so happy, make the kids so happy to do that.
Absolutely, they're great projects for everyone to work on.
Yeah, so I'll make sure to get those links into the post so that anybody can check them out, and feel free to volunteer on those. Is there anything else that you would like to, you know, get out there for our community? And is there any additional resource information other than the COVID City Council site that we'll put up? Anything else that people should know about? I know that you said you guys are meeting more often in the City Council, and do people have some access to that and kind of see what's going on as well?
Absolutely. So we have our City Council meeting, and our next one is coming up this Tuesday night. And so we encourage everyone to tune in. It's on TV, it's on our ICTV website, and also people can submit e-comments all up until the point of public discussion on an agenda item. So if there's something you see that you want to talk about, or even if you just have public comments in general, please submit those in, because really that helps us in guiding us in which direction we're going to be going. Not only that, but prior to each council meeting, I've started doing a Facebook Live and sharing what's going to be on the agenda and taking input and questions from the community members. So if you follow my page, it's Farrah for Irvine on Facebook. Every Monday before a council meeting, I'll do a Facebook Live and just get input from community members, different agenda items, bring those back to our council A lot of the discussions that we had at our last council meeting were from community members. So it's always good to have that, that communication open so that our residents know that we're looking out for them and we're taking their input as well.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. You know, I've lived here in Irvine for over 25 years, and I've never seen more communication out of, you know, the current city council members right now. And so I just so appreciate it because, you know, as a real estate agent who are, you know, connected to our community here, I just want to know as much as possible because people are always asking me about that and being out and about. And as well as in communication. And also through my email, people are emailing. And so I just want as much resources as possible. And you guys have really delivered that. So I really appreciate it. It has not gone unheard, you know, so thank you so much. And if you guys are watching, please tune in to Farrah on Mondays. Is there a particular time you said?
The next one we're doing before the council meeting is on Monday, the 11th at 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m. Great. Perfect. So I'm going to close out by quoting you about the community. And so what you said was, I love the community. Every person is unique, but adds to a vibrant community that makes our city so special. And I really, truly believe that Irvine is super special. Everybody's work and strives so hard for excellence. And we have all the amenity and such a vibrant and healthy business community, and we're all putting in our part to support it. So, and you being one of the people that I love that's supporting the city and supporting the community. So thank you very much. And as per tradition, all of our guests have a quote that they would like to share with everybody. And go ahead, Farrah, if you have it.
All right, great. So mine is, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. And this is by Arthur Ashe.
The great Arthur Ashe. Thank you so much, Farrah, and thank you for your time. Everybody that's watching, if you like this stuff, if you like what I'm doing with interviewing key people in our community, let me know. I'm here with a guest every single day at 5 o'clock, just really featuring people in our community of all kinds, business people as well as artists. This week, I'm actually going to have 2 musicians come on, and they're going to talk about their journey and maybe do a little music. So tune in this week. It's every weekday at 5. Thank you so much, Farrah, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.